better. It's more than just a word.
It's a promise to give our best, develop better technology, create better care, invest in better access.
When you help our veterans get better, it means constantly pursuing your best.
There are thousands of us giving our best every day to heal millions of veterans. Because this is more than a career. This is your life's work.
Hello, happy Tuesday and welcome to VA Careers Live. Talk About It Tuesday. My name is Tim Blakeney. I'm a national recruitment consultant for the Veterans Health Administration and your guest host for today's show. First off, thank you for joining us. We know that your time is valuable and we appreciate that you spend some of that time with us each week as we talk about VA careers. Since it's the second Tuesday of every month, our regular viewers will know that this is question and answer day. If you happen to be joining us for the first time, these questions are selected from those audience members like you that have submitted across social media this past week. Before we begin, I want to remind you that we want you to be part of the conversation, so feel free to leave any comments or questions for us in the comments section below, and our team will do their best to answer your questions and address your comments. With that said, let's get into some of the questions. So the first question is, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I want to know what I can apply for with this degree. So thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. With this particular degree, I would encourage you to look at VA police officer opportunities. If you don't find a police officer position in your area, I would recommend that you go to vacareers.va.gov and check out other opportunities. There are many entry-level positions to be found with the VA. You just may find something else of interest. Just be sure to check the qualifications before you're applying and make sure you're applying to something that will work for you. So next question is, I'm transitioning from a long career of self-employment. My educational background is in public affairs, looking for entry-level positions that will allow to grow within your department. So again, thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. My advice to you would be to go to vacareers.va.gov and search for positions of interest. Look for opportunities like public affairs specialist, communications, visual information specialist, media, etc. When you go to this site, vacareers.va.gov, you're going to be able to do a keyword search. Use those keywords and you'll see opportunities around the nation for you. Good luck. Next question is, what's the application process for wanting to transfer? Currently, I am a veteran employee wanting to transfer. So again, thank you for your question and thank you for serving veterans currently. As you probably know, the VA has over 1,300 facilities across the United States and its territories. As a VA employee, this is a benefit afforded you. So there are steps involved with the transfer. First and foremost, you must verify that you are eligible. Examples of verification of eligibility are meeting the qualifications of the job that you're wanting to go to and being found suitable for that particular job. The team helping me here will post a link in the chat that describes the process in more detail. So good luck with your transfer and look in the chat for that link on specific steps that you need to take. The next question is, do you anticipate another application period for the HR STAR program in the near future? If so, when? Again, thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. I had to reach out to my colleague who recently joined the HR STAR team. He told me that the VA is using the initial announcement to fill the first 1,000 openings. They had a huge large number of people that responded. So much so that he said if they run out of candidates, they'll post another announcement. It's not known at this time if that will happen. So I would just encourage you to do a couple of things. First, go to vacareers.va.gov and continue looking for this particular position. The other thing that you can do is create an account at usajobs.gov. And once you've created it, you can set up a search that will notify you when this particular announcement posts again. And based on the response for this initial announcement, I would just say, you might want to look daily so that you get your information in, your resume and whatnot, in as soon as possible after the announcement posts again. I wished I had better information, but I don't. So just keep watching and apply when it does come back out. The next question comes, it's as far as resumes go, if any or all of my jobs are irrelevant to the position, how do I spin it so that my resume is complete? What they're asking is how do they apply their unrelated work history to a VA resume? So I guess I would answer it this way. When you're doing your federal resume, my recommendation would be to list this experience as other experience. Without going into detail about the position or the positions, just the basics of the job, the title, the month, year, employer, location, that type of thing. List it as other experience. And, make sure that you report all your work history on your resume. I hope that answers your question. Next question is I went to an open house and completed a written assessment. What would be the next steps that I need to do? Again, thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. I would advise you to contact the people who held the open house or the individual that asked you to complete the assessment. They will be better able to advise you of next steps. If you don't have that information, then I guess I would return to the facility that conducted the open house and seek out a human resource representative to find out what you need to do to go forward. So good luck. The next question is, I have about 120 days left on active duty. I applied for my VA physical, but do not have the rating back. When I apply for jobs, how do I rate myself when it asks about being a vet with a disability percentage? So again, thank you for your question. And more importantly, let me say thank you for your service. Veterans Day is coming up on Friday. So I hope you get to participate in some of the free lunches and things of that nature. But again, thank you for your service and thank you for your question. Thank you for your interest in joining the VA after that service. Currently, you've applied for that rating, but you do not have a rating until it's returned from the VA with that answer. You should know that answer could come back with a 0% disability. It could come back with 100%. But because right now it's unknown, you're going to want to answer that question with you don't have a rating. So ways around that are you could do a cover letter and let people know that you have applied for the rating, but nothing has come back. Again, the short answer is you don't have a rating, so answer it with no rating, but then identify it in a cover letter. And hopefully that'll help you. Next question is, what kind of remote jobs does the VA have, and are they available nationally? So again, thank you for your question and you're interested in joining the VA. The best way I can answer your question is by advising you to go to vacareers.va.gov or usajobs.gov and do a search for remote jobs. There are so many opportunities posted out there, and a lot of them will allow for remote work. It's difficult to answer your question specifically, other than in a general sense, there's a lot of them out there. You just have to look for them. Go ahead and do your search, and good luck. The next question is, I'm a spouse of a veteran. I hear about many programs, but I don't know how to find them. I need help with open positions that require a master's degree. So thank you for your question. Thank you for your interest in joining the VA. And I'm going to say thank you for your service. Spouses are often forgotten, and their support of the military member is awesome. And as far as I'm concerned, you served as well. So thank you. It says the team actually sent you a link on how to obtain this information. So hopefully that would answer your question. And if not, I would encourage you to send in another question, and we'll address it again later. The next question is, are there any applications for any VA position required to be set up as federal resumes? I guess I would answer your question by saying you should follow the directions in the announcement as to what it's asking for. The announcement will always tell you what is needed to complete the application. I will say I don't believe that I have ever read an announcement that specifically asked for a federal resume. I usually see the ask being for an applicant to just submit a resume. However, I would encourage you, because you're seeking a federal position, to go ahead and submit a federal resume. I hope that answers your question. Next one is, does the VA hire life and health insurance agents? So thank you for your question. So VA benefits like life insurance and health insurance falls under the job description of a human resource specialist. The VA offers these and many more benefits to its employees. So although we don't have specific life insurance agents or health insurance agents, we have human resource specialists that will take care of these things and answer questions as needed. So thank you. What can you tell me about the Pathfinder program? Again, thank you for your question. The Pathfinder program falls into two categories: someone wanting to innovate with the VA and someone wanting to sell to the VA. The great people supporting me here will place a link to the program in the chat box for your review of the Pathfinder program. So go ahead and click on that link, and it should answer all your questions about this particular program. Good luck. Hope you find your answer. The next question is, I've always wanted to work at the VA, and I just recently graduated with a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. Looking for leadership opportunities. So I guess, the way I would, and you're also a 16-year nurse. So I guess the way I would answer that is with the VA, you enter in at an entry-level position as a nurse, and as you progress in your career, you seek out those leadership opportunities that you, number one, qualify for, and number two, have an interest in. I guess I would just say, the VA has a great number of nursing opportunities. So there's no better time than to enter the VA and get started on your career and upward progression. I would encourage you to look at for VA nursing opportunities at vacareers.va.gov. And good luck. Next question is, how do you negotiate step levels within a grade, or is that not possible? So thank you for your question. And yes, it is possible, but not a guarantee. If you're about to be hired, you can certainly speak to the hiring manager and human resources about your relevant experience, the number of years of experience, to negotiate a higher step upon entry and starting, your career with the VA. And when I say that is, let's say, I'm going to use myself as an example. You're a recruiter and you get hired by the VA and you're GS-12 step 1, yet you have 20 years of recruiting experience. You can use that to negotiate and say, look, with my 20 years of experience, I should probably come in as a step 5 at least, or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about, is use your current experience once you're selected, and let them know that you would like to come in at a higher grade. And again, it's a negotiation. You're either they're gonna say yes or they're gonna say no, and you'll have to make your decision. So next one is, I'm interested in getting hired by the VA and had extensive background in educational instruction and leadership, academic intervention, and certified personal development coach. What opportunities available for me? Are there any certifications that I can obtain that would make me more marketable? Thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. I would recommend that you go to vacareers.va.gov or at va.gov, where you can do a keyword search for positions within the VA that match your interest. The VA has training specialists, for instance, education and program specialists, health and wellness coaches, to name a few. Take a look at these, look at the requirements against your skills in education, and apply for the job if you meet those requirements. I wish you well in your search, and I hope to hear one day that you're a VA employee. Next question is, I'm a physician assistant who aspires to work at the VA. However, it seems most of the job opportunities for nurse practitioners are for nurse practitioners. Are any of the jobs listed as a nurse practitioner position also available to a physician assistant, or are these opportunities strictly limited to NPs? So again, thank you for your question and your interest in joining the VA. How I would answer that is when the VA posts an opportunity on USA Jobs, they are asking for what they want. So to answer your question, if they post for a nurse practitioner, that's what they're looking for. If they post for a physician assistant, again, that's what they're looking for. I have seen some posts out there that ask for both, in which case that's where the hiring manager said, I could use both a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. So to answer your question, look at the announcement, whatever it states they're looking for, that is your answer. So, good luck. I do know, nurse practitioners and PAs, physician assistants, do a lot of the same things. But again, when we do our announcements, we're looking for something specific for that reason. So good luck. Next is a general question that came off. Do you have any advice for building a network within the VA, either before or after applying? So building a network before joining the VA, I guess I would encourage you to go to LinkedIn. Follow VA Careers on LinkedIn, for instance. Look at who else is following VA Careers. Look at their profiles and ask to connect. The VA also has a Facebook page where you could, follow and connect and, get with people, ask them about their experiences with VA and whatnot. Once you're employed at the VA, you'll be connecting with your colleagues and you'll just go from there. You'll have interactions with a number of people, and in doing so, you can be, building your network. So with that said, I'm done with my questions. I'm going to look in the chat box to see if we have any live questions, and we'll go from there. So I do see the first one is, I'm pursuing my BSW, which is a Bachelor of Social Work currently, but I know I need my master's to work for the VA. Can I still be hired with only a bachelor's while pursuing my master's? So you can be hired by the VA even without an education. So it just depends on, the position that you apply for. I would encourage you to apply. Just knowing that when you do that, you're going to be a full-time employee with the VA pursuing your master's on a part-time basis. Hopefully that answers your question. So it says, I had an interview in person for GS-12 last month. I still haven't heard one way or the other about the job. Is this normal? I don't know what's normal, really. I hate to say that. But, all I can say is they're probably looking at candidates. I don't know what you applied for, but I would encourage you to reach out to the person that you did your application with, or if you can't reach them, then reach out to Human Resources. They should be able to answer your question as to what's going on with that particular position and give you a timeline as to what to expect. So how quickly will we know if our application is being considered once the time frame for our application submission closes? So with USA Jobs, you apply for your job, the human resource specialist will look it over, and you'll get something called a notice of results. We call it a NOR, that tells you where your application is at. It'll tell you that it's been received and it's under review. So that hope answers your question. So I don't see any other questions. So I am going to go to my closing, and we'll wrap it up for today. I hope this information has helped you in some way. For those of you who submitted questions, thank you for taking the time to reach out to us and being part of this broadcast. We really do appreciate your interest. If you submitted questions that we didn't get to this week, we want you to know that we'll do our best to get those answered in a future broadcast, or we'll reach out and get you an answer in the comments section. Again, thank you all for attending, and have a wonderful day.